Look back session is now live. So, new lesson. Query set basics. So, there's this cool thing that Django gives you. It's called the Django shell. And basically what it is, it lets you enter a Python interpreter. Basically it lets you write Python code to test out some queries. Okay? Before I do this, I'm actually going to go and create a couple more objects in the admin page so we actually have a little bit of data to play around with. Okay? Alright, so I'm just going to create a few article objects. Any suggestions? No? This isn't a task, don't worry. Cold? Cold. Yeah, it's definitely cold. By everyone here. It's freezing. Any other suggestions? Steakhouse. You guys are still hungry? What's your name? Ahmed. Bye, Ahmed. Description. What do you want to write about steakhouse? Steak and stuff. But what is the stuff? Cheese? All right. Maybe one more object. Any more suggestions? Fortnite? Interesting. What's your name? Mazen? Is this how you spell your name? Ian. All right. What about Fortnite? Huh? Stupid game? Stupid game. I think I heard someone say ew. Khalas? Okay. Just ew? Alright. Alright. So we got a couple of objects. So now we can actually play around with the data a little bit, alright? So what I can do is I can say Python manage.py shell. So again, what this lets me do is lets me write some Python code to test some of my data, to test some of my data objects. Alright? So right now, what models do I have? The model that I have right now, oh wait, actually, one second, let me close this. Open the code, just so that we can take a good look. Nope, wrong project. All right. So if we take a look at the model, the name of our model is article, right? Let's launch the shell one more time. I'll say from articles.models import article. So I went to the folder that has the models file and I said import article, which is the name of my model, right? All right. So we're going to go over the two most common queries. Okay. One of them is called .all, the other one's called .get. Okay. So the way that you can use it is, so my name, my article's name is article, right? My model's name is article. So article dot objects dot all. What this basically means is get me all of the article objects. If I click enter, I get a list of all of my articles. Okay? A list. Sounds familiar? A list of objects. Okay. So, let's try something else. What I can do is I can save it in a variable. So I'll say my articles. Okay. So, what if I only had one article in my database? And I called article.objects.all. What do you think we'll get back? Wait, the first person who talked, what did you say? What did she say? A list of one article. Exactly right. No matter how many objects you have, if you call .all, you will always get a list back. Whether it's an empty list, a list of one article, or a list of a million articles. You will always get back a list when you call .all. Clear? Clear. All right. So, that's .all. Pretty simple and straightforward. Okay. There's something else that you can do. There's a couple of tricks that you can play with this. We won't be using it in the examples that we're due this week, but it's nice to know. You can say dot first, gives you the first one. You can say dot last, gives you the last one in the list. Just something to know. Excuse me? It's a method for a query. So this will only work for a query. Okay? All right. So we found out how to get back a list of article objects. What about getting back an individual object, one object? There's a way to do it, and it's called .get. Okay? So I'll say article .objects .get. Now, I need to specify something inside. Something that's unique. Now, the unique thing is the ID, right? And the ID, by default, is the primary key. All right? So, let's say I say ID equal to 1. I get back Django, because that was the first object that was created. If I say ID equal to 2. Article matching query does not exist. Why do you guys think this happened? We deleted the object with ID equal to 2, so it doesn't exist anymore. All right? ID equal to 3. All right, ID equal to 4, 5, 6. Wait, sorry. Doesn't exist. So, the way that .get works is if you give it a condition that gives you back no objects, it will throw an error. If you give it a condition that gives it back more than one, it'll throw an error. So the way that .get works is you give it a condition that will give it back only one object. That's why we use ID, because ID is a unique value. There will never be more than one object with the same ID, right? Do any of you here have a civil ID with the same exact number? No. It's a unique value, right? All right. So, now we know how to use .get, and we know how to use .all. Let's just do a little more experimenting with the objects that we get. So, what I'm going to do is, let's just go get the first object and save it in a variable. Okay? I'll call this article, for example. Okay? So now if I call article is what? It's an object. A article object. Okay? How do you think I can access a value from article? For example, I want the title of this article. Title, okay, so how do I get it? Dot title, all right, that's exactly it. What about the description? Dot description. The author? Dot author. So using dot notation, I can grab the attributes. Okay, now check this out. I can say dot ID. Did we create an ID field? It's there by default. When something is a model, it gets assigned an ID by default. All right? Any questions? All right. Oh, yes. Yes. It's called a manager. It's there by default. You can change the name of this, but it's there by default. All right. Let's do a little more experimenting. So, what about the list? What did we save it in? What was the variable? My articles. All right. So my articles, if I call my articles, gives me back a list of article objects, right? How do we deal with the lists? For loops. All right, so I'll say for, let's say art and my articles. Let's print the art.title and maybe the art.id. All right. So it works the same exact way with a list. I just need to loop through it. Feels very familiar, right? Kind of like the list in detail view that we've already dealt with. The only difference here is we're pulling the objects from our database instead of just manually writing it. Right? So, the most common use for the Django shell, this whole thing that we're doing, is just to test out stuff. That's the most common use. Yes? You can add objects. You can say article dot objects dot create. And then you can say, let's see, I need a title. So I say title equals something. Author equals something. What else do I need? Description. Description equals something else. And what was the last thing? Publish date. That'll be 2018. Let's see, 2019. 07. What's the date today? 23. Creates an object for me. Now if I try to grab article.objects.last, there it is. So, this is nice. It's fun to play around with. So far, it's kind of useless. Right? What am I going to do writing some code here when no one's going to see it? So we tested it, but the whole point of this is for users to be able to see or to interact with it, right? So, we're going to take everything that we learned in here, and where do you think we're going to use this code? Where does the logic go? Views. All right. So I'll quit out of here. I'll run my server. And I'll go to my views. So what do you think is the first thing that I need to do here? What was the first thing I did when I ran the shell? Import the model, right? So I'll say from dot models, because I'm in the same folder, right? Import article. Cool? See all this? It's gone. What do I write now? Article. Dot what? Objects. Data. Bas. It's a lot simpler now, right? What about this? What do you think we're going to do here? Article dot objects dot get. All right. And ID, for example, equal to 1. Right? What I need to do now is I need to go to the HTML files to adjust it to work properly with the fields that I defined in my model. Right? So it's going to stay the same. I just need to make a few changes. So I'm going to go to templates, let's go to list. Okay? So let's grab this here. First of all, articles is articles, okay. But take a look at our model. So I have title, I have author, and I have description. Okay, everything is fine. Let's go to the detail. I have title, I have author, I have description. I'll add the publish date here as well. Now look, something very important you need to keep in mind. Whatever fields or whatever attributes you try to access here are the same as the ones in your model. Because this is an object being passed from your model. Okay? These fields over here are these fields over here. Okay? Any questions so far? All right. So if you take a look at everything we did so far, it's actually not that much. It's just basically this line and this line. Cool? Cool. Any questions so far? Let's see it in action. Yeah? All right. So what I'm going to do to make things a little fun is I'm going to have one page open here. I'm going to have one page go to the, is it list? Is that what I called it? Articles, okay. So that's articles. See, now it's showing the object from here. Cool, huh? Fortnite, ew. Okay. If I add an object here, let's test. Test again. Again and again. Save. I'll refresh here. It's right there. If I delete something, let's go to something. Delete it. I'll refresh. It's gone. So now you're displaying dynamic data. Still looks ugly. It's fine, but we'll worry about that later.
But you have to refresh, right?
Yes.
You have to go to the server.
Not to the server, just here. Refresh. Same page. Yes, yes. So even Instagram, you still, or something like Instagram, you still technically refresh. When you slide down, that makes another request to the server. Unless you're using something called a socket. Not a sock, socket. So sockets is something that does, which basically means you're making a continuous request. Cool? Any questions so far? All right, let's check out the detail page. Okay. So right now, whoops, is it details? Detail. So now it's showing me the detail page for those. But there is a problem. This detail page only works for one object, right? How do you think, or what do you think we need to do to have a detail page for each object? Another view? So if I had 50,000 objects, should I create 50,000 views? For loop? No. Wait, someone in the back, what did you say? Exactly. I'm using an ID to specify an object, right? So maybe I need to send the ID from somewhere, right? So maybe I should do something like this. For example, I want the object with ID 1, I add it as part of the URL, it takes me to the object with ID equal to 1. All right? So, what I'll do is, I'll go here, I'll pass it something called an article ID. This is just the name that I made, you can call it whatever you want. So, where do you think this variable, this value, where do you think this will be sent from? From where? From the URL. So I need to go to the urls.py. All right. Let's go open the urls.py. You see here? I'm going to add a parameter. And the way that you add a parameter into a URL is like this. Greater than or less than. Now what kind of value is an ID? It's an integer, so I say int. What's the name of the value that I'm sending? Article underscore ID. So this doesn't have to be called article ID, but if I change it here, I'll change it here and here. It's just a name. Clear? All right. So let's try this out. So now it's working. I have ID equal to 1. If I put ID equal to 2, it says does not exist because we don't have something with ID equal to 1. If I say 3, shows me object with ID equal to 3. If I say 4, shows me the object with ID equal to 4. All right? Any questions? Whoops, no, just the article list. Nice? Nice. So, you sure you don't have any questions? You guys seem pretty sure. So everything is clear? No? Okay, then where are your questions? Yes? The spelling for what? Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't care. I'll fix the spelling now. It's fixed now. No more questions? Okay, then we'll make things interesting. All right. Let's go to the task. All right. What we'll do is pair up with a person sitting next to you. Or why am I on this page? Yeah. Pair up with a person sitting next to you. Work on task number 5. And you're not allowed to ask questions for the next 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Let's see how you do on your own. All right? So find a partner and start working with them. You have to work with a partner, all right? Oh, by the way, there is something in this task. So the reason that I'm putting you with a partner is there's something in this task that you'll have to figure out that I haven't yet explained. It's a challenge, all right? If you come to me and you say, Hamza, how do I do this? I'm not gonna answer you because it's a challenge. And I'll give you guys 45 minutes to solve this. Yeah. No. The URL tag. So like clicking on it and taking them. Let me end the look back session. Oh, no. And